6 everyday things that grew out of military technology. 1. Duct tape. Originally imagined by a military factory worker to seal and waterproof ammunition boxes, duct tape quickly became a handy solution to all sorts of problems encountered on the battlefield and far beyond. The worker Vesta Stout nearly failed to get her world-shaking invention into the hands of interested parties. After not receiving enough attention for her tape from those in charge around her, Stout pulled a boss move and wrote directly to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Within a few weeks of her letter, Stout was informed that Johnson & Johnson would immediately begin manufacturing duct tape for military uses. From 1942 to today, duct tape remains a most useful item in households. 2. Superglue. In 1945, a group of scientists, including Dr. Harry Coover, worked with chemicals called cyanoacrylates to create clear gun sights for use in World War II. The sights never materialized from their initial experiments, but 6 years later, Coover began researching the chemicals again. Then he introduced the marvel of glues, superglue, to the market in 1958. Even after the glue went public, the military continued to find new uses for the product, including sealing aircraft canopies and closing flesh wounds. Now superglue became the most recognizable and sensationally sticky household item of today. 3. GPS. The glorious directional revolution humbly began as a way to track submarines during the Cold War. The project proved its worth definitively in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. Even though the system was incomplete with only 19 of the 24 satellites operational, the limited coverage of the unproven technology allowed US-led coalition forces to outmaneuver Iraqi units over a trackless desert devoid of landmarks. Now GPS is used across the globe on most internet-connected devices and for all sorts of tasks. 4. Canned food. The French army showed great interest in extending the shelf life of their soldiers' rations after seeing more men die from eating rotten food than succumbing to combat injuries. In 1806, Nicolas Appert sought a sizable monetary prize from the French government in exchange for developing a way to preserve food long-term. With his invention, he became the father of canning. Then canned foods entered the private market and proved to be an effective sanitary way to store food for extended periods of time. 5. Virtual reality. Its origin is traced back to military training systems first employed in the 1980s. It begins with the construction of advanced flight training simulators and extends through modern simulated combat environments. The military likely does not train soldiers to walk across a beam 20 stories high, escape a virtual prison cell, or shoot aliens with giant lasers. But the training technology introduced in the 1980s helped bring about the growing virtual world. 6. Synthetic rubber. The necessity for rubber during World War II led directly to the invention of this modern wonder material. When the Japanese took over their Pacific Empire, much of the world's supply of natural rubber was cut off. This left the United States scrambling for a way to produce rubber synthetically. With consumption rates already around 600,000 tons per year, leading up to the war and little supply to match, President Roosevelt appointed a committee in 1942 to solve the rubber supply crisis. By April of that year, the first bale of synthetic rubber rolled off the manufacturing line at Firestone. The rapid invention of synthetic rubber to fill wartime demand directly led to all of the various uses of rubber in the world today.